What's up, everybody? Midjourney Fast Hours Podcast, episode 60, and the last one of the year. Drew Brucker, Rory Flynn, wrapping up 2025 in style. And yeah, man, we did 36 episodes this year.
Crazy.
36.
It's like, I thought about that the other day. It's like, this is our not technically full second year, but second year of doing this. And it's been awesome. Like, first, let's just get this one out of the way for all the people listening out there. Killed it this year. Like, way more fun, way more people requesting, or like sending us around and people, getting seen the podcast. So thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for listening. And also thank you for, engaging and like, just like interacting on this thing. Because Drew and I, again, we don't know what we're doing. We're just talking.
Well, I think like the other, like what I was going to say too is this is great because one, selfishly, you and I get to connect and talk through this stuff because I think what I've learned, and I'm sure you've learned too, because you're working from home, I'm working from home, like this can also feel lonely, even though you're working with teams and clients, you're still working for yourself and just staying up to date on some of this stuff. Again, hard on your own, no matter what, you might be saving things and this and that and the other. You can't do everything. So I think the fact that we had to come in here and talk and just kind of bullshit around is awesome, number one. Two, like you said, it's been awesome to see other people chime in, comments, in passing. Like I know you did some talks, even, internationally overseas, and people coming up to you and saying they listen to the podcast. And
Sick.
I think, we went into this without any expectation, and I think we would probably still be doing this even if we had 10 people listening. But I think like that makes us feel good. And it's always great when we see new faces too, because it's like, I had no idea you're even listening, right? So like those people keep popping up. So I think this has been super fun, man. I think for like 2025, we're going to recap that today. A lot's changed, man. I'm just trying to rewind to where we were last year. I think we were waiting for, V7 to come out. Video was still in kind of like a, like an experimental sort of timeline in a lot of ways. Images, Midjourney was still king at V6. Like there was nothing that could touch V6 at that time, right, in terms of realism. And just like, the way that I think you and I are going to touch on this too, but like the way the perception of this has kind of changed, and people, you were just mentioning this before we hit record, but it's just like less education on why this matters, right? Mm-hmm. You and I were very early on this, and a lot of people that are listening to this were very early. And if you were doing any kind of client work, or just trying to tell your friends about it, whatever it is, it's just like you had to do so much educating and provide so much context on why this matters. And now you don't have to, right? People and brands start to understand, like this has to be a part of what we're doing. And so that whole, education aspect is sort of like settled down a little bit. So we've seen a lot change since last year, and that's just kind of scratching the surface.
It's nuts. Like, remember when we were doing last year? It was we had like, I think it was Runway Act 2 where I did myself as Santa for your daughter.
Yes.
To make her put onions in her socks or something, right? Like my cousin, and that would have been like, that seemed like, for someone who wasn't in the know, that was like, what is happening? And then this year, like my cousin came to Christmas and she was like, look, I made a picture on ChatGPT of Santa in our living room, putting presents under the tree to show to show my daughter. I'm like it's so mainstream now that someone that would never even consider that now can just type that into their phone and just like say, I need a picture of Santa in this living room.
I wish I would have spent more time doing something like that for my family too. We were doing the Elf on the Shelf this year a little bit.
It's not so like you could do with that though.
Not seriously, but like every couple days we would have him doing something else, right, and like getting into trouble. But it was like I saw somebody on Instagram that like I'm friends with that they're probably not in AI really hardcore, but they were doing Elf on the Shelf. And they had shown something that, like, they had basically done what you're talking about. They had taken, I guess, pictures of the house, right? And then had him inserted into scenes so you could almost document how he was being mischievous, right? That he was actually there. And I just thought that was a cool idea, too, at the time. I was like, yeah, that's I wish I would have done that because the kids would have loved it. But yeah, you're starting to see
That's
that
it,
filter
though.
down. Yeah.
But that's like, you know, and then my uncle looked around. He goes, "You guys know this is like what Rory does every day, right?" Like this is like it was like shout out because shout out to my uncle who does follow on LinkedIn, who has no skin in the game in anything AI. He's just about retired and in the finance world, but he just appreciates the banter back and forth.
Is that the
on
guy
LinkedIn.
that I've seen on there? That I thought that was your dad.
My dad is also on there as well.
Oh,
They're,
okay,
you know,
okay.
So what happens during retirement age? You get a little bit interested in what's going on. I think they miss it. I think they miss the work world. I think they miss the little. I know my dad does. I know my dad gets into like modes where it's like he's like bossing me around, like he's still the boss at work. You know, and I'm like, hey, you know, this isn't like per my last email. I'm like, why are you sending me an email like that? Or like, it's like, all right, Dad. It's like, you know, I'm not going to schedule some time on your calendar. I'll call
Yeah,
you
man.
later. But it's funny. They think they miss it, which makes me feel not that excited for retirement at some point. It just feels like kind of miss a little bit of work, which I do. It's been a slow like 2 weeks with the Christmas. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I got to do something. You know, like I need some chaos.
Yeah, it's like that right balance, and you know, like sometimes those sprints are good for you mentally too, right? Because
Yeah.
if you have too many of these sort of like lazy days, it's hard to kind of like pull yourself in. Yeah, man. I mean, there's been so much shit that's changed in 2025. You know, I know you got a list. We can pull that up too, which would be interesting. What about just Christmas in general? How was that for the fam? Did you watch any good shows, anything like that?
Of course, chaos. Got you know, shows wise, got Stranger Things in. You know, we got the finale coming out tonight. Gonna obviously doesn't even matter. I don't care. I'm just watching it. I'm having a ton of fun with it, regardless of how I think it is or not. It's just like event television at this point. Did Your Friends and Neighbors. Finished that one up. Did the Diddy documentary, which was like
I also did that. Yeah.
throwing back to. I honestly, outside of the Diddy stuff, I liked all the stuff on like the Biggie, Tupac, like East Coast West Coast stuff almost as much, if not more, than the Diddy documentary stuff. Where I was like, I want more of that. Like I want to go
Just getting
I
into
wanna,
the
like,
details.
yeah, like I want more of that from that perspective because that to me was, you know, who doesn't like the 90s hip hop? Like everyone likes it in some way, shape, or form because it feels like it resonates. It's storytelling. It's good. You know, it's just good like music. Like there's no other way to put it.
It was still music back then. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was much more raw. You had, you know, these guys creating beats on machines that, you know, like that's the artistry in my mind. And that's why I love it so much. The 90s hip hop thing. I mean, and there were just have you ever seen this there's a really cool show now I think about it on Netflix. And I don't know if it's still on there, but it's a really good one where they go city to city and focus on the hip hop scene as it came up in each city. So it's like it starts with who really started that in Chicago or New York or Atlanta. Houston. And they kind of they like tie it up, and this guy kind of finds these people and does interviews with them, and you know, like, well, this is what I was thinking at the time, and blah blah blah, and then they kind of go through this chronological order of how it evolved and like how more people picked it up, and then who took the torch, right? And that series is great. I really, man, I gotta find the name of that, but I love that one. That one's really cool because it just goes into the like the grassroots nature of it.
It's like, to me, the music stuff is so fun, which I think we're going to have this is just a prediction for 2026. Like, I'm starting to see a lot more in the AI music space now. I think you're going to see a lot more of that get adapted because it is very mathematical in a sense. But like I saw recently that there was a new open source tool that came out, and there's a few others. You know, you saw sort of like UDO get gobbled up by, I think it was Warner Music. Suno is probably getting gobbled up by someone, I forget. But like I just see that. And then it, you know, go back to like my TikTok algorithm or my Instagram algorithm. That dude Ari on the street that I was sending you from the other day, the dude that just produces on the street, and everyone in New York somehow has like, you know, bars ready for the
just ready to roll.
Just jump on. He's like, oh, let me make a beat like for real, like in real time, and then bang, someone just like ready to fire. And I'm like, people are awesome. I love I like seeing like talented people like that just fire. You know, it's like it's all there, and then they're ready to go at all times. But
Yeah.
sorry for being off topic, people. But this is
No, I love it,
the end of
dude.
the
I
year
love
wrap.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so last one we did was right before Christmas, so we're just kind of catching up with Christmas stuff. Then obviously New Year's tonight, which is crazy. 2025, that's a wrap. Going into 2026, a lot to look forward to. I'm interested, obviously just like working in this space, I'm curious to see how that evolves. I'm also just kind of curious as a creator itself, right? Like just what new tools are we going to get? What is going to be the leap, from now till this time next year? What are we going to see? And so, I don't know, man. Maybe this is a good time to kind of bring up what we got for the 2025 stuff. You kind of pulled a recap of some of those like key moments in time from 2025, and this is not Midjourney exclusive, by the way. This
We have
is
a
just
specific
more or
one
less.
for Midjourney.
Okay, yeah. So this is more like just the entire space, right? And so Rory put this together for us, and then highlighted some of the key moments that he saw sort of chronologically through the year here.
So what I did here for anyone also who hasn't been like, if you're looking for data pulls, this is like a good sort of, I guess, tip. Grok is excellent at querying Twitter. So like you can just like, instead of like using like the advanced search features, like using Grok to query Twitter to get like all this information, because really it has like everyone just puts their model releases on there, but in regards to that, every other piece of information on there, it's great to just be like searching. It does like a fairly decent analysis of stuff, but that's just like instead of using like deep research on ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, like it really has like the bite-sized information on Twitter to pull all the data. But that's a sidebar. But what I did was basically ask it. I'm missing some things here, but I asked it for notable releases in the Gen AI space, so like image models, video models, the LLMs, things like that, just to like get an idea. Naturally, there's going to be some things that are missing here, but I just wanted to see like how much stuff we got, and we got
a lot
of stuff. Yeah, like more than I remember. Because if you look at this whole list here, this is God, what are we? One of 105 releases, which would technically, if we broke that down, be like almost every
3 days,
2.5 days, 3 days,
yeah.
Right? So, and this is missing stuff. This isn't like everything. There's probably some tools I'm forgetting. Whatever. I did mostly like the heavy hitters, but I did go in here and highlight, I thought, some inflection points, and I want to get your opinion on these, because I know this is where I started to see some patterns. Where
let's untangle this a bit.
Yeah. So this one I probably should have highlighted was GPT 4.5. Like, to me, that was like their first notable update in a while when we got 4.5, and that's when it started to get like way more GPT. Like, I don't know if you remember this. It was like started to get in that was like the new image model came out. Then we were getting like the agent mode and like the codecs and like all that stuff started like waterfalling after 4.5.
Is that I would say maybe even that right there. 4.5 was that was the quote unquote release with the image model, correct?
Yeah, because then
because I mean that's
4.0 mini with the image generation.
Oh, okay,
okay. So it came
because I mean that's massive though, and I mean just to recap that, right? We had no ability to take any existing image, third party image, and do these little micro edits, right? Like there was no possibility of that. All of those different use cases that we talk about with Nano, I mean, like that stemmed from here, and I think that was a significant moment for a lot of reasons. I mean, like if you're doing client work, I mean, this changed your workflow, and then also if you're internal and you're paying attention to this stuff, this really kind of democratized, some creative capabilities too, because you didn't have to be this savant in a particular tool, right? Like most people are using, an LLM like ChatGPT, if not ChatGPT itself. So having that accessibility inside the tool for a lot of people, I think was a really significant moment.
I think March, we look back on this, probably the biggest shift of everything. Because I look at when Reeve came out, whatever the hell we want to call it. Reeve was the first one that could really do text and style at the same time. Like whereas like ideogram could always do like text, but the style was kind of like whatever. Like it wasn't good. There's a few others that could do text, but it sucked in my opinion. So like getting Reeve, getting Gemini, and getting like GPT Image all in that month, and then having it be able to do text, style, and then Reeve couldn't do the replication, but Gemini 2.5 could. So we had like, because I remember I was sitting in Antwerp about to go on stage talking about like LoRa models and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, this is LoRa's done. Like I don't really need to use it that much anymore because now I have
That's
these
right.
tools.
That's right.
So
That
like,
whole LoRa thing was a thing for a minute too, right? It's like
Yeah.
you have to create your own LoRa's, and then the other part of this that you have highlighted too is that Flora AI piece, which
Yep.
sure you had Comfy, but like this felt like the more accessible, mass, sort of like appealing option for that kind of creative work, which I don't think even at that time, that Notes wasn't really getting enough hype, right? Like even in March, that was not really talked about heavily, at least in social media circles, right? I mean, and I think that's where this space is really interesting because I do think you can read the tea leaves pretty easily if you follow certain people or you're following a certain sort of like echo chamber, because we are kind of at the forefront of this. Like people like us, people like the listeners here, people like that are just providing this content of, oh, look what you can do. We're kind of actually running this whole push. It's a very democratized push, I think, from a creator standpoint. These tools aren't really having to educate anything. Like we're creating the content for them. So, from that standpoint, Flora and the whole node-based thing was not even being talked about. It really wasn't.
But it took Comfy and dumbed it down to like a very simplistic level, and it wasn't even you could do as much as Comfy. You could just do basic things, but like seeing it, I think it was like, oh, this is what we like. Me personally, this is what I needed. Like I needed to be able to sort of like visualize everything in one space. But the other thing that I think was interesting here was the multi-modal, like if I say that right, portion of like the GPT and Gemini, right? Like having that within a chat, talking to your images, being like, add this, change this, do this, like instead of it being a prompt interface.
It's a great
sort of like
there you go.
Set things in different directions.
That's a great point. The natural language of it too, with the coherence, just different, right? Before it's just like, we've become so used to sort of like this idea of a prompt being so much different than how we would talk, right? It would have to be formatted in like these little groups or by commas, or you weren't just talking to it. And I think that opened up a new avenue too, right? Because I think the fact that where we had been before that, you really kind of had to learn this language, versus kind of now it feels a little bit more intuitive. And especially if you're already using LLMs, because you were having to kind of think in that way, right? Where it's almost like, especially on the talking mode, right? When I mean, that's most of the time what I do now. If I have the time or I'm in the right place, I'm just talking to it, right? Because I can ramble. I don't have to worry about how I sound, but I'm also just kind of thinking on the fly. I can pause. Right. It's obviously quicker. I don't have to type it all up, worry about if I'm spelling everything right. So, I mean, I think like that natural language aspect to your point, it was like a really key moment.
It's crazy to go back and think about this because I remember that the day that these two came out, because I was about to go on stage the next day, and I was like, oh, I feel like everything I say today, done tomorrow. Like kind of how it typically works whenever I go on stage, it seems like. But that was pretty intricate because I mean I remember playing with it and I'm like, I'm gonna put some of this stuff in the presentation like ASAP, and it was like people didn't even know what it was yet, and I was like, it got released yesterday, it's really cool. But as you can see, we'll keep pushing here. Then it seems like we slow down a little bit in April. Doesn't seem to be much. I mean, Kling 2.0 was a very good release. You get Image in 4, which was definitely good. Hailu, Minimax 2.0 was good, but then you see like I think the tipping point of like the whole year was VO3, right? Because this one, massive jump. Like this one took everything that had happened in the video gen space and like flipped it on its head. Because number one, we had the quality. Number two, you had the dialogue and the sound, right? Which typically, if you wanted to do that, you had to have like 4 other tools.
Oh,
had to do,
dude, it just makes your head hurt thinking about it.
11 labs to create the voice. You had to do, something to have a lip sync. You had to do something to, to make the background noise, whether that was like Audio or, Barilla or whatever it was at the time. All into one tool. And then you're like, oh, damn, this is good. And like nothing else was close at the time. So it was, I think that was like everyone needs to push the gas pedal now. Google just like sort of threw gasoline on the fire.
2025 might have been the year of Google.
Yeah.
I think we might give them the crown here because right, 20 up until 2025, a lot of it was so quiet. To the point where you almost started to worry about Google. You're just like, are we going to see the disruption, like the fall of a giant in real time? Because it's like they got all the resources, right? They've got the money, they've got the talent, they've got the ability to designate entire teams to figuring this out, and it's just like nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden, 2025, bang, 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 bang. Almost a big jump for them every month in some way, you could argue, right? Like there's probably some things like, I don't know, I'm just thinking about like Pompelli, for example. I don't know if that's on this list, but like that idea itself is sort of like a game-changing thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like we finally have something that can actually start to get into that space, and it's obviously early, but they had all these different pillars that they kind of knocked down. The VO3 thing, obviously, they're still winning video, 3 holds up. We're in December.
Well.
We were in December here. So that's 7 months ago, 6-7 months ago.
That's going to open up a broader conversation when we get to the end of this, which I think is going to be, what the difference has been like for the both sort of mediums. Because when I keep scrolling here, I feel like that's the inflection point. But then like it really doesn't get that much crazier after that. Like Weavy, I put Weavy in here because, again, I think that was a pretty tipping point for myself when I was like, oh God, like systems, batch processing, it's easy now. I don't have to like engineer. Like I can actually just visualize and get stuff to where I want to be, right? Because then we have, a bunch of other image models coming out, Grok 4, Higgsfield Sol, the Wands, the Quens. Runway LF I thought was a pretty interesting sort of update in July when that was basically video to video editing, which I thought that was sort of like the next, sort of like the Nano Banana for, for Runway or for video. And it wasn't, it had its faults. It wasn't great, but it's sort of like set again, as Runway typically does, to give them their credit. They typically do things in a way that like everyone else is like, oh, I should probably do that too. And like then, see other models that have that like cascading after the fact, but they were the first, of course. So like that to me was pretty impressive, because then we get down to, where is it here?
Just look at that, right? So
yeah.
you go down a little bit. There's on line 51 there, September 18th. Luma Ray 3 drops. That was like this huge sort of like cinematic upgrade to video, and that hype lasted 48 hours.
48 hours.
48 hours.
Kling 2.5. Great. That was another one. I don't know why I don't have Gemini. Do I have Gemini on here? I don't know what happened to
I think you
Nano
do.
Banana. Somewhere in here I lost it. But we got Gemini right around Labor Day, which was around the end of August into September, which that was like that was really like another kickoff point. If I'm looking at the 3 kickoff points this year, like it's been Google. Like it's been sort of
Google.
Gemini 2.5. Yeah. It's been Nano Banana, and then Nano Banana 2. Like all, like to me, these are me personally. Like I just see that as being like the industry shifting for each one of those. Versus just like, here's another update that fits the sort of mold, if that makes sense. But that's sort of what happened. We had
Claude Sonnet on there.
Yeah, Claude. And the LLM.
Yeah, Sora.
We need like
Sora
2
2.
episodes to do all the LLM.
Yeah, Sora 2, another good one, because it felt like that was a huge leap in terms of like social meme kind of content.
Broader
obviously
awareness, like broader awareness to like not the normies, but like
the
world.
Yeah.
Like,
great point. Yep.
Yeah, so it's like anyone could use it, anyone could have fun with it. It's not hard, and it also did like one functionality that you saw in there was the ability to structure like full story narrative in that without having to prompt for it. create me a trailer, and it would do the cuts and the different scenes and think while it was doing it, right? So,
boy, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens at OpenAI in 2026. I mean, obviously they've just got endless. They've got the, infinite glitch money code over there, but I feel like people are moving away from them. I mean, not like in a mass, but myself included. It's just like I want something better. The LLM's still doing things that should have not be doing now. That Claude can do. Claude is much better at writing. I just like the things that they have set up Claude with. You can easily build these artifacts and it actually listens. I mean, you try to do that with a custom GPT, it ain't fucking doing it. Or if it does, like if it can, in some cases, it's harder to achieve it, right? And I just think like that feels like that's something that OpenAI should have figured out by now.
Yeah, it's interesting with them. I don't know because everything else has gotten good. Gemini, it's great.
OpenAI going to be interesting. I was going to say, really interested to see what happens with Grok in 2026. I mean, they made a lot of steam in the last 6 months here.
If you've looked at the condensed nature of who's developed the most and probably made the most jumps, it's probably Grok in the shortest period of time.
I mean, shortest period of time. Exactly.
Like having nothing to being like pretty. I use Grok for anything that's query based now, like for deep research. It to me is the best. Like even I don't know what the information. Like at least I know like the information's coming from X, that could be good or bad, but it's really solid at generating or like queries from like even going up and looking like
it's
how
got
many
that
times has this
in
been
real time. It's got
Yeah.
that in real time connection that we're all wanting. That ChatGPT, you're not sure when it's going to give you the most real time or not. Like it's not super reliable always. You might have to double check your work. Whereas you feel like that's also been the benefit of X or Twitter in the long run anyways. Like for the longest time, that's always been the place where breaking news happens, and that's what I've always loved about it is that real time aspect of if I'm not watching a game, I can follow along with people that are watching the game. I know exactly what's going on. You
want to judge public sentiment too. Like that's the easiest way to like analyze data. You don't have to go and like jump through hoops to pull posts into like things and be like, can you read this? Oh, sorry, I need authentication from whatever. It's like I can just query. It's like here, take this post that's viral and like give me the sentiment analysis on all of the comments, and it's like 33% like this, 80%, 70% hate it, whatever the hell the numbers are.
Yep,
just sucked. But like, there's so many cool ways to use it because of that function. But
one last thing on the video too.
Yeah,
it was the physics, right? This time last year, physics were still effed.
Yeah,
and I feel like that in a lot of ways made a huge leap forward. I'm talking about like the real time physics of human bodies, moving, walking, running, flipping, jumping, all that stuff. I mean, you couldn't do any of that stuff in 2024.
No, which is like. Again, we start moving through here. I have the Figma Weavy acquisition as a big one because I think that sort of set again in motion that this stuff is real and it's useful, and you're going to see a lot more companies just acquiring. We just had Meta acquire Manus yesterday or 2 days ago, which another agent building tool. Like I feel like the acquisition stuff is coming now. Like all these other companies have like let the smaller startups like incubate and develop and gain follower base and like go through a bunch of failures, and now they have a solid user base, and then it's like let's just buy them now so we don't have to develop it for 2 years and spend a ton of money. But you saw that whole thing where we had like all the node based stuff happen like real quick, and it was that was November, October. Everyone's got nodes, and that seems to be like the most comfortable way to create, and you saw a lot of people transition, I think, to that, which was to me pretty interesting because I think people just felt comfortable with nodes because either they'd used them before in the past or it's just like an easier way to visualize it versus typing into the prompt and pray box, hope that something comes out. So that was to me where I saw probably the last of this, where it was like, okay, then we got Nano Banana, and then we got Kling had its updates, which I thought were great. I didn't think it was like revolutionary. I just think it's a really nice quality update to their platform. Flux 2, I'm like meh on it. I don't think it's exception. It's not Nano Banana 2. ChatGPT, the new one in 1.5, I don't think it's as good as Nano Banana. That's just my opinion.
A lot of people really talk about Seed Dream a lot too. I don't know if they just pump it. I mean, it's fine. It's not
good.
Nano Banana.
It's not. It's still not as precise. Like Nano is precise. Like it's very precise.
And the realism. I think selective realism can be similar.
Yeah.
But, if you were to run that experiment over the course of a various number of images and different types of images, Nano's going to win.
It's game changer. It was like AGI for images.
I think that was for me top. That's a top 2 or 3 jump on the year.
Yeah,
because Nano Banana was obviously great, but the jump in the resolution in detail, and then I was running into that problem, which I've talked about on this podcast, right? Where it's like, let's just say I want to do a flat lay of all these ingredients, multiple ingredients. I also want to get text and arrows in there and blah, 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 blah. Couldn't do that. You couldn't do that until Pro, right? So that advanced creative control aspect wasn't present. And then, the editing capability. And I would just say overall realism, you pump in Nano Banana Pro, there are photos basically indistinguishable from reality.
Oh yeah.
That we've got there with that, right? So, this has been, man, what a year. What a year. Will we get as many updates in 2026? Yes or no, and why, you think?
Yes. Double time. But this is all for everyone here. Just so you know, we're not effing crazy when we talk about this stuff and being like, there's something new every week. I just pulled that data into Claude and said, make a visual chart, right? And you can see here, how many releases we're getting a month. So it looks like we peaked in April
Q1, companies pumping in for Q1. So we're thinking about this also too, Rory and I, from the aspect of VC money. So these companies that are funding them, they have certain deadlines and goals they're trying to hit that are based on quarterly, yearly calendar. So, the end of March is important, or depending on when you're, could be the end of April, but you see that here. And then, like you said with this chart, kind of like Q2 summerish kind of stuff, but then Q3, Q4 just go boom,
bang. So when we said the last couple episodes, and it's just there's something new every other day. We had 15 major releases from the major companies, which is every other day. So it's, and this isn't even counting half the stuff. This is just the major companies that I put in there. I didn't even, there's a lot of other micro tools that did not make this list, or tools that people probably use. I didn't put anything about Canva stuff in there or Adobe.
Right.
There's a bunch of things in here. This is just from the major AI players, the Googles, OpenAIs, Alibaba, ByteDance, things like that. And it's crazy. So you see this curve. I think this is what we have to get used to for next year. This, just
you do.
Maybe, I just have a feeling it kind of felt like this ever since last year, the end of last year, right? Where it's can't keep up anymore. That was
I mean, I wonder if we were to run that through, we didn't compare that to the year before, obviously, but I would agree. It did get exponentially more frequent with the updates, more companies involved. I wonder if there would be any reason that it wouldn't again compound upward and to the right. I would just say maybe it's just because we get some consolidation.
That's it.
Maybe
I think that's probably it.
But otherwise, the pace, theoretically should be just as fast, if not faster. So
yeah, which this, I don't know why this was eye opening. I feel like I just wanted to validate.
I mean, it's good to see it like that, because this is what we're feeling every day, but we don't have a visual model to look at and say, oh, that makes sense, right?
Because we were just I remember us, everyone's probably all right, dude, it's enough complaining. But it was probably during October, November-ish, where it was how do we even look at this stuff? Can't even tell you what's going on with it. Because by the time I tried, Kling 2.5, there was Luma Ray 3, and then VO 3.1, and then whatever. And it was right. But that's the one thing that I want to say over all this. I want to talk about that, is that I feel images this year went from here to like if we're climbing Mount Everest, they went to like base camp 2. You know, like it's almost close to the peak. Like I feel like video sort of just like we got to VO3 and then like nothing really got that much better after that. Like, and there's still like images you can do so much with, and video there's still consistency issues, physics issues. Like you can't hold consistency through a number of different things. Like there's still only 10-second generations in most cases. You know, as the max. There's still issues with sound and dialogue and consistency across those images, or like if you're going to do keyframes and extending, like there's pacing issues. Like there's a lot of issues. I mean, there's a lot more variables with video, but images seems to have like really like. Remember when we were talking about this with Midjourney? It's like how much more photorealistic can it get?
That's right.
That was like a year ago, and now we're like,
that's right.
There's a lot we can do now. So, do you feel that way, or am I just nuts?
No, I do feel that way. Dude, I think we're gonna see some stuff from Grok in 2026. I think they could be the sleeper in this because Grok 5 is gonna come in Q1. I think. Well, it's definitely coming Q1. I guess the question is it coming in like January, February? You know, because they've like to both of our points what we were talking about. I mean, they've just gained so much ground so quick.
Yeah.
And I mean that what they're doing with their image and video right now. I mean, you could make a case like they probably have the most approachable video at your fingertips, do something with it right in the moment than anybody.
Yeah.
You're already using social and now it's right there in your feed. Is there any other way? No one like
vibes.
I haven't been on Facebook, but like Instagram, they don't have anything like that where you can instantly sort of like create while you're scrolling. This is a new thing. Now that I'm like talking out loud about this, I mean, the fact that you're able to create while you're in social.
Yeah. Well, Sora,
and it's,
I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good point. You know, but it's just
vibes,
like, now people
will not in meta, but
like
different.
If I wanted to roast somebody right now, like, I could find, let's just say one of these online trolls is talking shit.
Yeah.
And they've got a picture somewhere of them on their profile. I mean, you can go to Grok and say, put this guy in a clown suit now. You know what I mean? And they'll instantly generate a picture of this dude in a clown suit. You know what I mean? Like the fact that it's just that easily accessible and low barrier to entry to do something, I feel like that on a mainstream social platform has been sort of like this silent thing that maybe we haven't talked enough about as a group, as a collective. So I'm really interested to see what Grok does, man. I mean, I think like we're also probably going to get those longer watchable videos. Obviously, like that stuff's going to happen. I wonder if they'll get into sort of like this workflow component in any way.
I don't know. I'm really,
or not.
I think it's a good point though, dude. I think it's a really good point about Grok. Like if you look at it, it's just like you see who the players that have risen to the top have been, who has the most data, right? So you have...
That's right.
It's
a good point.
YouTube, you have Meta, you have Google. I mean, sorry, YouTube is Google. You have ByteDance, right? Like those are ones that have sort of really like pumped it because they have the data, and we're just feeding data into X and YouTube and Instagram and whatever at all, and TikTok at all times. So it's like they seem like the ones that are most prime, but it makes you think back to the acquisition of X, and it's just like, was $45 billion or whatever Elon paid for it, was it underpriced? Did he get a buy there? Did he get like a deal for what Grok's about to do?
I mean, that's a great question.
And he knew.
Well, dude, and I mean, let's not get too political with this, but the fact that he bought it anyway, and you had somebody that wasn't going to censor a platform was interesting. And that was like the start of this. So if that doesn't happen to begin with, which was the real reason why he probably purchased, or most of the reason, where are we? I mean, it's just like it's an alternative universe that I'm sure is probably happening in real time right now that we're not on that field, but
you see it though. Like you see now, like he was a founding member of OpenAI. He had to know data is what feeds this. He
And the
had to
fact that
know
he was able to
X
just
is
like, he's already busy as F, and then to get involved in them just, man, just putting on like a literal jetpack.
yeah.
No
Look, we're
pun
not here to-
intended. They're doing all this other rockets. I mean, Tesla. I mean, like all this other stuff, and then you're just boom. Like, there's this whole
We're not
side.
here to grease him. We're not here to grease Elon. So if anyone's going to get upset about that, we're just saying like,
This
it's
is
an
not. Yeah,
interesting
this is
development.
like. Here's the other thing, right? Like, if that does frustrate you anyway, I would ask you to think about like this. There can be good and bad parts of anybody, right? And this doesn't have to be a I like them or I hate them thing. There's a whole spectrum here. So keep that in mind. But I think the fact that you've got somebody that's so like vocal and then involved with this, and now Grok is just supercharged into this conversation is interesting, man. I'm really, now that we're
use
talking
it
about it out
way
loud,
more.
I might be the most interested, maybe with the exception of Google, to see what they're going to do. And maybe more than Google. I don't know.
He knows what to do. Obviously, like he knows how to. He knows the inner workings of OpenAI. Like he knows how it was built, and like I use Grok a lot more than I thought I would. Like not from the image side, but just on like on the LLM side.
Yeah.
It is a little angry in nature, though. It's a little bit, which I kind of appreciate. It's got like a little bit of like an attitude to it. I'm like, all right, that's cool, but it's definitely got something. You know, you say it now. That's a good prediction for 2026. I do like that one.
They did say that Grok is the most unbiased LLM.
I could see it. It's got the most variance.
Objectively.
Yeah, it has to have the most variance of opinion versus anything else because everyone else is sort of like naturally more censored, so there's only certain things that can get through, right?
Yeah.
But it's Grok is slowly becoming on my research side of things the place I go to first.
It's a good point. I feel like I gotta use it more. Like I use it from time to time, but I think like it's one of those now that I should be using daily. I still go to ChatGPT for things just because I have like a quick shortcut on my phone, but it's like probably should be Grok.
Yeah.
So
Grok is overly verbose. Like I have to go in there and do the custom instructions to trim it down because it'll write me like a novel, which I'm like, okay, cool, but whatever. It's like I don't need all that. But dude, it's you see it. Like I see it with the TikTok stuff. It's like getting way more like the ByteDance stuff and everything like that. It's getting more. Pretty sure ByteDance is TikTok. I'm forgetting that right now, but it's like YouTube, the VO3, right? Like ByteDance, Seedream, Grok Image. Like there's so much happening in that space. There's no way to like. That's it. Like I just see that being like the trajectory upward. Like I don't know who else. Meta that gets Manus. Like who else is going to win? I don't know.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't know. Adobe's not. Like I don't. I like Adobe, but they seem to be just like, all right, fine. We're going to go the partnership route because they can't keep up. They have to do the same thing. They should probably start acquiring people. But it's the consolidation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Consolidation.
Maybe that's Reeve. I don't know enough about Reeve in terms of like who's behind it, how it's funded. But that feels like a good candidate if you were wanting to acquire a reputable model that does good work. The foundation is laid.
Yeah. Minimax, I would feel the same way about them. Like they have a really good model. I feel like Midjourney is probably doing like some. Midjourney feels like they're working with a Chinese model for something. Whether it is Minimax or Kling or someone. I don't know. It feels like Seedream, ByteDance, whatever.
What about okay? Let's talk about Midjourney for a second.
Yeah, let's get into this one.
V8 should be January. I mean, it's hard to say because we haven't gotten an update on office hours in a few weeks. So I don't know if that timeline's still working, but let's just assume you're going to get a February at the latest. I think we can probably feel pretty confident about that. I've asked you this before, but let's look at this maybe a little bit over the course of as in fashion that we're doing here, over the course of 2026, what does Midjourney, what does their path look like in the next year? And this is a little bit tricky, right? Because there's stuff going on behind the scenes that we have no idea what actually is happening. But I think this is the year that we're going to find out exactly where Midjourney fits in this puzzle. I guess what are you thinking they should do or have to do or are going to do over the course of 2026?
Image editor.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
image
it
editor.
has to be there. Like that's all. I mean, just to stay relevant and competitive, I know they have bigger plans than that, but I think that needs to be. I've said it once, I've said it on this podcast, everyone's probably like, dude, we've heard this enough from you, but like, that's it. Like, that's just to stay, that doesn't mean like pushing anything else forward. That's just like to stay current. Like, the other thing is, some of my most interesting Midjourney images. Yeah.
I was just going to say one. No, go ahead. You go ahead. I'll jump in after this.
Last thing is, some of my most like visually interesting Midjourney images, I can't take them into the other tools. They still don't work. So like Nano, good, but doesn't get there. Seedream, good, doesn't get there.
Wait, like, tell me what you mean in terms of like the prompt itself.
If I take something like this, into one of these tools, like it's very hard for it to mimic sort of like any of these things, because some of this stuff is just too intricate for it, right? Like this is like I've had a hard time getting this one to work because of the intricacies.
Like get anything close to like if you were to create an image in Nano doing it? Are you saying like it's hard to do in the sense of like recreation or just in general of the level of detail just across the board?
Say I wanted a different view of this exact character.
Yeah.
Right. Like I've been able to do that, but it's just like not the same vibe. Like if let's see if I can actually pull up the example of it.
Yeah.
Where I have, let's see, sign in. Let's pull this up. I was trying this with, maybe it's this one. So I was using this guy, right? What I just saw. And I got some good stuff from Seedream. I was trying Seedream. I was like, let's just check this out, see what it can do. But it's good. It just doesn't, it feels...
They feel disconnected.
Flat. Yeah, like I don't see like this one. Maybe I'd be like, that's cool. It still feels like it doesn't get like the Midjourney vibe on this. Like it still feels. It doesn't feel like Midjourney. Yeah, it might be doing this, but like I'm not really like overly impressed with it. Outside of that, if I go look for let me see if this one is the one I'm looking for where I had it. In here, is the one? Yeah. So these are more like the Nano, but I was kind of vibing with these, even though it wasn't the aesthetic. I was trying to put it into like the that flash photo sort of look.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I mean, it's grungy. It's sort of raw, right? Like it looks the way that I'm asking it to, but it's not necessarily exactly what I'm looking for. Like I still want to keep this sort of like color palette and this very like soft shading on the edges and like all these other things that I'm trying to ask for, like this really like rich, good color, clean. Like, dude, I was having a ton of fun with this one yesterday. Just
maybe that's it, right? Because it's like you could mess around with that for a while and get it. The problem is it's still a pain in the ass to do.
Yeah.
That's where I think the workflows have started to show up and become visible, and we've gotten these capabilities, like obviously Nodes is a great example of that. But I still think there are all these disjointed pieces along the way still, right? Like, which we've always talked about historically with Midjourney as the example, right? Like you had to do 5 steps that now today only take 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I think it's that part for the workflows too, right? Like what you want, but and you could get it. It's just eating up more time and energy than it has to. Yeah. And that becomes, more of a pain in the ass than it is fun. And obviously like you're probably using this too for, you are for client work, but that's where it's like, well, all of a sudden, like everything speeds up if we can start to fix some of these disjointed pieces along the way of the workflow. There still are those pieces, right? Like even when you're going into Weavy, I know you've probably got like some templatized system prompts, but like I'm just thinking like in general, that could take a while. You got to, that's a piece. Yeah. Then the prompt that's a piece, and like all the connection, those are pieces that ideally get consolidated somewhere in the future here. And I think like maybe we start to see that a little bit too in 2026, the workflow consolidation,
Yeah, I hope so. Like that's why I'm trying to build like little micro tools and things that just like get rid of that for me. Because like, again, I just want to be able to, the way that I iterate this quickly on here where it's like, hit remix, go, enter, blah, 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 blah. Like getting to the one image is relatively straightforward. But then like taking this person, now I want to do something with them, like that's where I want Midjourney to step up.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
I like this. I want to play with this, Not
there
just
you
like,
go.
Oh, that's it. One in a vacuum, done.
There we go. I think that's if I'm Midjourney, or just speaking for myself, and it sounds like you too, that is a top 2 or 3 in my mind, is if you can kind of start to consolidate the storytelling process, right? And I think like the example I used to give like a while back was like this idea of like, hey, if I've got an idea in mind, like why can't I generate 3 or 4 images of that scene instantly of the story, like almost like a combined LLM format, right? Just again, to like really quick, like activate me to create that. Otherwise it's just all these single pieces, these isolated ad hoc things. They're exhausting.
Yeah. That's my problem is like, I want to play with this stuff more, but now I have to go bring it into a different tool.
Another tool. Yep.
Run it with a different system prompt, or like make sure that I'm like deconstructing it a little bit so the aesthetic is exactly what I want. Meanwhile, Midjourney just knows what I want. And like if it could just do it, which I think it will be able to, right? Like I think
now that is also, hey, you know what? That's also an interesting thing, which is Midjourney knows what I want.
Yeah.
Midjourney has that. And I think it's possible to kind of do this, right? Like, so for even in Free Pick, for example, you could set up a style reference now and kind of do like the mood board thing that you can kind of do in Midjourney. I haven't played with it enough to know how reliable it is, but Midjourney knows what you want. That is still a competitive advantage. And I'm really interested to see now too, that you brought that up, the personalization, the next evolution of the personalization, because up until now, there is no real precedent here with how to personalize what you want outside of just like this mood board. Let's just call it, MJ had the mood board. You've got a style reference, right? Like some of these platforms now have that. Midjourney did that. Now what's the next iteration of that? Well, I think Midjourney is going to release that next iteration of that. I think that's a pathway where I think they're ahead, that they could potentially impact these rest of these tools by the way they do it. So really interested to see how that personalization comes. And then the twofold part of that you bring up is just that saves you a lot of time. If you've got a model that knows exactly what you want, you don't have to think quite as hard. You don't have to be so contextual in what you're doing. And that's just one, extra step that you no longer have to really like pour in a lot of energy and time into. And I just think like that's the really important part of this is consolidation, less exhausting, more fun, less pain.
Less pain. Yes.
Less pain.
And just like this can be fun. Like, I know David always says you just want to make beautiful things. It's like, yeah, this is beautiful to me. I want to do more with it. I want to do more beautiful things from this one beautiful thing. Right? Like that's sort of how I don't even need to create anything for work. Like I just want to play with things. Like if Midjourney is going to like keep staying as the artistic rendition of AI where it's like I want to do like things that just like express myself, then like I just still want to like express myself. I don't even need it for doing client work or project work now. That ship has sailed, right? I don't need it for that. But like for my own part, when I'm doing this yesterday, just like Midjourney hooks me back in, I get an idea that I like, you just start hitting the enter button like a million times. Like I want to keep going. Like I just think but then I stop because I'm like, oh, let me take this into Nano. Oh, it doesn't work, and then I go back, and then like all momentum's lost, right? I'm like, sort of like I wanted to do more things with this, but now I don't feel like thinking that much to do.
Yeah.
You know, to like I know what I want to do, but I don't feel like going to engineer it somewhere else. I know
That's
I can
exactly
get there,
right.
and I know I can do it. It's just like I'm playing. Like this is playtime for me, and maybe it's not for a lot of other people, but for me, this is how I use it. Like I'm not getting, you know, these images from 7 style references and, you know, an assist from Marco on his, you know, his crazy token ChatGPT or his crazy token GPT. When I'm like, dude, put this image in here, tell me what it spits out. Then like we're like co-collaborating on this, and I'm like, sick. Let's play with the parameters. Let's change up the style reference or the style weight, the, you know, stylized values, throw in the parameters or the permutations. So like, it's the only place I can do this. And then I just don't want to go anywhere. Like I just like it here. Yeah, if you guys are listening, I like it here. Let me stay here.
I love that one. I also just think about like that whole mood board thing. It is really good. There is still room to take that further.
Totally.
Right? Like
Totally.
to kind of to your point of what you're doing and what a little bit of what I've done too on like that node side on Weavy, right? Where you can kind of start to get into more of an exploratory mood board, and it's not so constrained to what you put in. So I think like if there's almost like a prescriptive way to kind of put things in there to what you might want, like an ideation partner in that sense, visually could be really interesting to iterate on. And like that's another path, you know, like that could be really interesting for Midjourney, is kind of like being a little bit prescriptive and almost like giving you things that you might envision yourself needing, right? Like serving it up for you, serving up new ideas for you, which has kind of been the way that they've kind of done the explore page anyway. They're serving up ideas for you.
I looked back at all my favorite images from 2025, and I would say 90% of them came from mood boards, like that I built. So it's like
Interesting.
probably the function that I use the most, and like made me the happiest within the tool, because it's just like, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Like I want that. And fun one for anyone else who's done this exercise, if you go back and look through some of your favorite images from the year, throw them all in a mood board and just like let that be your new aesthetic. Like it's a different way to like sort of optimize personalization in that sense. Because like this one mood board I have, which is, I think it's called Vibes, or here something. I just put like random images that I liked in here. I don't know where the hell it is. If I can find it. Yeah, this was just like random images that I had liked from either like the month that I was creating or some of my favorites from last year.
So possibly like a different personalization, like a personalization mood board, if you will.
And this one tends to work really well on every image that I like, because it's just like sort of the aesthetic that I'm going for. Like, none of these have any sort of rhyme or reason to them. You know, it's just images that I've really liked that I've created on the platform, right? And it's like, okay, let it ride. And then, you know, that's what's going in on here is on these mood boards. It's in there on Vibe. In addition to, you know, like I've been doing that instead of my global profile. Like to me, it's been working better than my global, because God knows what's going on with that thing.
Global. My global's torched. I don't even mess with the global no more. Ever since I did that V6 thing, I'm like, I usually combine, if I'm not using a mood board, I'm combining like my V6 personalization code, and there was one other personalization I have that's just around like photorealism specific. And I just stack those, and it's worked pretty well for me. But I think it's interesting what you said about the mood boards, like being, a lot of them came from a mood board. I think that's probably true for me too. And, you know, that's even with me taking a huge gap. Like I took a long break from mood boards too. We went in on them. When did those come out? It's like probably first quarter, or either, oh, you know what? It was either December. I think it was around this time last year, or January.
Because January we have your blending mood board, so it definitely came out before then.
Oh,
probably December.
Okay, so Q4 last year, but yeah, I mean, we went hard on those for the first month. You and I. I mean, we really did. We put together those whole mood board packages, and then I probably stopped for 8 or 9 months, and then the last, I would say Q4 for me, like probably since September, October.
Right back.
I'm right back, and I've created some really good ones that I just pretty much using for all my like creative stuff, you know. And I just
You're supplementing your personalization profile because you don't like it that much, right? Like that's how I'm doing it. It's like that and my V6 personalization profiles versus this V7. That's how I've been getting what I like again. And it's like I won't say brought me back, but like I now have more fun on there because I've been doing it that way.
yeah.
There's something about without personalization on, like the base model, like doesn't interest me, and then when I do put it on, it just alters it too much. So I'm like, I need a happy balance of this. And that's
You know what? There's also one other thing about Midjourney that you don't have, I don't think, with any other platform that I can think of, which is there are so many different ways to still get good results.
Yeah.
There's just not that many variables on a lot of other platforms. And I think in some ways it's good to have less variables. But I think from an exploratory standpoint, I always wonder, what am I missing by not by putting Chaos 5 instead of 20? Or putting this in a 16:9 instead of 4:5? Or, using this mood board or this mood board, or stacking mood boards, or stacking SREFs, or stacking personalization. Like there's so many possible outcomes. And again, that goes back to the personalization of the model, which already makes it more enjoyable. I'm not like shooting in the dark ever. I mean, you are, but like this model knows you. And when you have that many, I guess, creative ways to get to good outcomes, that's pretty cool.
All right. Technical hiccup. We are back. But the one thing I was going to say right before that was I was thinking about, you know how Midjourney does things like differently than everyone else most of the time? Like, you know how you have to like jump through hoops to get different camera angles of stuff? Like, imagine if instead of just remix, it was just like perspective shift or something like that, or camera shift. And it's just like you hit the button, you got 4 different views of that same image.
Boom.
Like that's
Boom.
Like that's the kind of stuff that it's like, okay, that's what I want. And then I'll hit R5 on that. Like that's. Do you want me to waste?
It's almost like a more of a
money?
creator control versus like right now you have to kind of like prompt for that.
Yes, I have to write a whole system for that.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's a good one. I like that one.
That one would be fun. Or like like the zoom out, instead of it just being zoom out, if it was like a long shot of whatever you had versus like you can just do zoom, but like that oftentimes doesn't take other things into account.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff would be fun to play with, like different perspectives, like drop the angle, like whatever, like just all the things that we try to do, to get different versions of what we already like instead of just remix or, very subtle, very strong, right? It's like that to me would be fun. Like that would be, how many times would you hit that button? I hit it all the time.
Oh my God. I mean, I think we literally fed families on very subtle and very strong.
Yeah.
Up until, probably up until V7, really. Just because like that was one of the best ways to iterate once you got close. Right? It's like, let me just hit subtle. Let me see if like I like her eyes better if I subtle, or she's looking in a different direction, or the hair falls different, or this object maybe looks a little bit more pronounced, or it's in a different spot, or like the straw. I mean, you could go down legitimate rabbit holes with that. I mean, we did that micro decisions thing, but like I just remember the early days of like probably, it's 23 and into 24. I mean, I lived in those rabbit holes of very strong and very subtle. Like you could go down there and get a whole different idea, right? Because you could go very strong and then you've got, sort of like this parallel idea, but it's different than what you started with. Then you very subtle that, right? Like, or you could very strong the very strong, right? Like all those different, micro decisions and pathways, man. That was like a real exciting time,
Remix. That's, I still love remix. I still love very subtle, very strong. I still, And then there's something about Midjourney's upscaler, which is still, there's like things that I don't love it for, and there's things that I only use it for. Like it has a softness factor to it in some things where it gives like a really polished look, like for our thumbnails, for example.
Yeah.
Sometimes I throw our thumbnails into the Midjourney editor, like do like one little dot for the edit so that I can then upscale it, because it'll soften it out and make it like all smooth and consistent. Like it works really well for that, which I like. It denoises really well too, which is great. But there's certain things like, I don't know. Like, what do you, like, outside of what I just said, is there anything like monumental you really want from them? Like, I don't know. Like,
Well, I think we kind of like, to me, I think we kind of like, I feel like I said everything I wanted to say. The whole idea that we're talking about with like more of this workflow thing, I then kind of gets into the editing thing, which also kind of gets into like, if it's a workflow thing, we're talking about objects and characters getting better too at the same time, right? Like we're talking about like that whole thing. So,
yeah,
that's huge. The personalization piece is interesting, right? Leading the way on that, I think in a lot of ways. Mood boards, like that could be another area that they go into. That we've got all these secret projects we don't know about. We still don't know what V8 is truly going to be. I think we have a lot of hopes and prayer. I mean, we obviously need it to take a significant jump here. And then, originally that game plan was to then go back to the video from remember those conversations after they drop video. It's like, we're going to get back to that once V8 drops. And so, Midjourney continue to get involved in the video format, and what does that look like? But I haven't spent a lot of time in Higgsfield, but there are certain things of, and I think we actually did talk about this in a previous episode, but it's like the idea that you're putting the use case and application in a box for people to already identify exactly what that use case and application is to then do something with it. Because now there are so many features and so many controls that to start from day one, you don't even know it's possible. You would have to build up so many reps to connect, to build that connective tissue versus like spelling it out for someone and kind of putting in this organized format. Maybe Midjourney needs, maybe there's an opportunity there to, again, like kind of feed that into a different space as well, perhaps. But V8, I'm interested. What's next after V8? What are the secret projects? But I think you hit it. Like the edit model thing is massive.
I think like that if it's good and it's clean, the edit model, that automatically makes it a professional tool, whether they want it to or not, because then you can batch process with permutations and other things, like, which is the one thing why I like Weavy so much, because it's the one thing like, same thing with Comfy or whatever. It's the one thing like Midjourney where I can type in R4, or I can do, here's remix, but also like, let me run this with a couple different, I can run 15 gens at a time if I want to, right? Like, yeah, like it still can do that. So if you can do that with an edit model and it's like, just do this, and then
I think that's,
you know what I mean? Like that's,
I think that's it right there. I think we got through to what we were maybe looking for, because the edit model itself is important, but then now what you're talking about is the thing that Midjourney is already great at, which is the permutations, the aspect, all these different avenues, and then doing things at scale, which then, they would need a better way to visualize that scale, right? Other than these 4 images in a grid kind of thing. And the way their current folder system set up, but maybe that's what they're thinking, because they've been talking about redoing the UI. So
yeah, it makes so much sense to me. Like when I think about it, I'm just like, like the reason I like Weavy and like these node-based tools is because I can work on multiple things at once the same way I can in Midjourney with permutations and the parameters and, tagging different mood boards in here and, bringing in different stuff. But like, to me, I have to engineer the whole system somewhere else versus just like, the buttons are already there. The controls are already there. Just if you fix the other thing that might need to be, for anything that's text and consistency that might need to be sort of addressed to get it there would be the output resolution. Like I think with 4K, the output resolution, you get more pixels, which means you can get more fine details, especially on things like small text and small fine like areas.
Yeah.
You do that plus the edit. It feels like that's sort of where the secret sauce has been. Because like more pixels, more detail. It's obviously more processing power, probably costs a lot more, but like the editing model plus the higher
feel like they've been working on that in the background, So maybe we've got some breadcrumbs there. I don't know. That's interesting.
But that, like, and even if they don't want it to be a professional tool, I still think it's just people want to play with their own concepts and their own ideas. As an artist, you see people doing it all the time. They have their styles. They keep going with their styles. Like they keep pushing it in their own ways. Like you just like stuff and want to do more stuff with the same stuff that you already like. Sometimes you don't want to do new,
100%.
you know.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a great point too.
yeah,
We've just got in this habit of just building volume of images, and you want to try all that stuff. And of course, you're going to have that no matter what. But also, God, I wish, at least me, I wish I would have spent more time thinking about things I've already created and just doing more with it. You know?
yeah. That's why I like the thumbnails, right? Like like we talk about the thumbnails a lot, guys, because it's just like my outlet on creating
Thumbnails
stuff.
are pumping, baby.
It's just fun. But then, like, when I'm done with it, then I throw it into, one of the Weavy workflows and have it like vary it 17 different ways. It's like the same thing I would do with Midjourney if I had the like ability to keep it all consistent. So, like, it's just I just want to see what it'll do next. It's not even like I have much of an idea. Just like I have these sort of again, it's shooting stuff against the wall to see if it
Dude, I
sticks,
feel like
throwing
we need
stuff
I feel like we need a Home Alone thumbnail edition where we're both Kevin. And
could do that.
Marv and Harry are in there. Like
we might be. You
Dang.
might have just set that in motion.
I want to get that on a hoodie.
Well, I
Yeah,
have
man.
used Kevin before to model one of our expressions. So just the Home Alone covers it when he does the aftershave.
Yep.
and he's the scream. So we've definitely used Kevin before. He's come in handy, but dude, it's like that. Now I'm gonna do that one. Now we're getting a Home Alone thumbnail. So if you're here, you watched it, you know how it happened.
I forced that one, man, but I'm
forced
glad
it.
I did because I love that. I was thinking about that the other day. I don't know why, but I was just thinking of like us being like I don't know, somewhere in that house, that iconic like house or stairwell or some part of that house, right? And then you've got Marvin Harry, like trying to catch us, or we're putting him through a booby trap situation or something,
Yeah.
Dude, my girls love that movie, and it's like they
great.
probably don't understand anything, but they love the bad guys getting hurt. Dude, they love it.
Yeah.
And they love my favorite part, which is in the second one when Marv gets electrocuted and turns into a skeleton while he's getting electrocuted. It's the best part. Or when he throws the brick down at Kevin and says, "Suck brick, kid." Dude.
What about
my
the
kid-
nail to the foot? Call
Nail
back
the
to
foot.
old episodes. here.
Foreshadowing for you.
Very foreshadowing. I always remember that one because I know exactly how it feels.
I'll be honest. There was like a 2-week period of time too where we were getting a lot of house stuff done. I was telling you about it. They were doing the
Yeah.
roof, and then they were doing like the gutters and this and that, and just like nails everywhere, and they're picking them up, and I'm finding them. Every time I walked outside to look for nails, like I thought of you and your foot, and I was like, I am not running into that situation here.
See, this is a good throwback for the thumbnail piece of it. I tried to make that the thumbnail when it happened, but I could not, for the life of me, on any image model.
That's
get
right.
a
I remember
foot
that.
and a nail. Remember? I was like, I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
do it. Like it won't.
I
work.
remember that.
So annoying. But now, like, I could do that in like 2 seconds. Like I could just hit I'd probably just say, nail underneath a foot, and like side profile. And there you go. Like that's it. But dude, that also could be a future one too. You never know. You don't want to step on a nail, guys. It's really not fun. Tetanus shots are not something you want to go get because you're in fear of getting lockjaw and having,
Like when they ask you
infection in your
when's the last time you had your tetanus shot? Like no one ever knows. I mean,
No.
I don't even know.
And I had just gotten it because Faye was just born. And I did not know that the tetanus shot was in the rest of the other shots that you need when you're, when they make you do that at the hospital, the diphtheria, whatever the hell else it is.
Really?
And then it was like a couple weeks later, and they were like, when was your last tetanus shot? I'm like, I don't know, 15 years ago? And then they're like, have you gotten this shot recently? I was like, yeah, last week. They're like, okay, you don't need one then. It's like,
Yeah, it could have been bad.
would have turned into like Thanos or something,
Yeah,
like
man, you would have evolved, mutated into something.
with that last Infinity Stone, just like would have phased out of this reality with that much juice in me.
Oh,
But
probably. I mean, way too old for Faye. But we watched a really good Christmas movie that I hadn't seen since I was a kid, and like legitimately good. Miracle on 34th Street, the
It is a good one.
94 version.
yeah,
Really good movie, man, and like
what
wholesome
about
too.
Jingle? Have you brought them to Jingle All the Way yet?
I haven't. I thought about it after Christmas. It's so funny that you mentioned that because it's one of my favorites.
Great, epic one.
No, but I feel like they could probably laugh at that right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that was our childhood. Jingle All the Way, right? Like that.
Phil
one,
Hartman, God,
so good. Sinbad.
Sinbad, Samael guy. Oh man, what a great movie.
Epic. There's some great one. I mean, I fired up Harold.
Arnold had a run. Arnold had a run, like a real run.
And that was part of it because I love Jingle. Turbo Man,
Kindergarten Cop. Kindergarten Cop was
how many pop
killer
culture references can we fit into this thumbnail?
Right.
Might have to have all of them. Could probably put them all in there.
Dude, hey, you ever seen that movie Eraser?
Yeah, that's another one. Dude, exceptional.
The gun seeing through the wall and stuff, like that was wild at the time.
90s are awesome.
Jeez, bro.
I said this to my wife yesterday as we were going to the movies to see Marty Supreme. I was like, I'm like kind of amped to like go to the movies. I don't go anymore because like, what's worth going to the movies for anymore? Like, it's not like they put up one of those. I saw it on like Instagram or something. It was like the top movies of like in like 1999, and there was like 40 bangers. Like things that you still watch today.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I look at what happened this year. I'm like.
Dude, we are living. I was same thing. I saw something like that. It was like 2025's best movies, and it was like I saw maybe I don't know 2 or 3 of them that were on the list, and I was like, those are the best movies from this year. Like, look, I think Sinners I would have loved to seen in theaters. There was a lot of like,
should I watch it?
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, right. For sure. But like, there was a lot of hype around that. I think deservedly so, but like they did some really cool stuff with the cameras too. Like whoever put that together, produced it, talked about how they shot it on different kinds of film, stuff that they just don't do anymore. And like they had all these different experiences in theaters and stuff. And for whatever reason, I didn't get out to the theater, but I watched it when we did that vacation. I was on the plane. I watched it. Good movie.
All right.
Good movie. But I don't think that should be a number 1, number 2 best movie on the entire year. Like that's where I was at with it. I was just like, and Marty Supreme too. Like that was also on there. Also really good. But I don't know. Like to your point, like back in the 90s, early, I feel like there would be 20 of those kind of movies.
Yeah.
That where you're like, oh yeah.
I saw like the other days I saw on TV. I didn't watch it though. But do you remember the movie like The Bone Collector with I think it was dead. It was like about serial killer.
Morgan Freeman in there? Morgan Freeman, right?
And like I forget who the other actress is, but like that would have been like a like not a first tier, not a second tier, like a third tier movie, but like it's still a good movie. Like you think about all like those thrillers and stuff like that were just kind of like solid. Like what's the one with Gerard Butler when he's like not Lincoln Lawyer.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Like a law-abiding citizen. Like that was like a
Jamie Foxx
like a mid-tier movie. Like that wasn't good, but like, you get that today, you'd be like, oh, sick. Like best movie I've seen all year. Twists, good writing, story, like whatever. Even if it's like
I like that movie. Stuff. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, but those are the types of movies I feel like the bottom
You're right,
dropped out on. Right,
the bottom dropped out. Yeah,
we have like big blockbuster, and then
the volumes, right? I guess like we're not even thinking about things that didn't make it to theaters that are now just streaming instead.
Yeah, the TV shows.
Like
that. That's sort of where they went. But yeah, we're complaining, guys. I think you're gonna, for predictions wise, you'll see. I think you'll start to see a lot more AI stuff next year, like in places like Netflix. But it's gonna be like everyone's gonna hate it. You just get people are just gonna hate it, and it's gonna be super polarizing. Like you're gonna see companies try to take a swing on distribution, and they're gonna get blasted. That's just
it's gonna get really interesting. Thinking about this mass interpretation of it. I mean, even like for example, Sora. I don't really want to go on a platform where it's just all AI created content.
Yeah.
If with no intention to create let me preface it that way, right? Like if I'm just looking for entertainment or scrolling, I might be there because I'm going to create, but I'm talking strictly just from a passive standpoint. I'm just looking to have a good time. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So what are these? Yeah, I feel like there's going to be this swing back, and maybe this AI creative piece kind of falls into its place, for lack of a better way of structuring it. Like I feel like it's going to your point, like somebody's going to have to take those big swings. There's going to be some backlash. Where does the swing kind of like settle in this spectrum of things, right? Because it's still got to go forward and accelerate with the new technology that's coming into the space, and then kind of figuring out, I guess, exactly what brands are going to do it and what audiences are going to perceive of it.
Yeah. I think they'll take the swing, but like to me personally, I don't want to go to Netflix to watch AI content. Like
I don't either. I don't care how good it is. Yeah.
Because I don't want the distribution rules around it. Like I don't want someone limiting what the person can do because it has to be distributed on this platform that has rules. Like I'd rather watch someone who's like on YouTube doing whatever the hell they want. And like that's what I want to watch. Like I don't want it, like if you're gonna do AI, like do it all your way, not with like all the constraints. You know?
Yeah.
So
I think that's really interesting, dude, because people are you're kind of seeing that with the image side, right? Like we were getting all, the tech pushed forward enough where probably like with Midjourney V6 was like that point where you started to get like really great images of people that, and objects and just scenes where it felt like professional photography in some ways, right? Like you had went into Lightroom, Photoshop, color graded it, or, tweaked, color temperature and shadows, highlights, whatever. It just had a more cinematic look. And then now like or cinematic or editorial. And now like, even with some of these brands, they want more of that like UGC, raw, amateur, candid, sort of indistinguishable type photography, which I think that part of it makes sense. But like the more raw stuff, which then to your point, talking about the video, I think back to those little kids that you introduced to on TikTok that do the fishing videos. They go out and they're like, "Look, we're going to fish for today." And it's just like people like that content. They like real stuff. And there's no polish on that. It's just like these three little nerdy kids that go out and like they fish on the same lake or whatever, and they basically document what they find along the way, and they just like are talking like 9-year-old
eat raw
kids.
hot dogs and stuff.
Yeah,
like like blue Cheetos.
It's like,
and you're like, all right, cool.
it takes you back nostalgically, and it's just like that is so. They don't plan it, right? Just like this podcast, we don't plan nothing, but they don't edit. It's just like that's it. And so like that raw aspect, what do people like to consume? And so I think that pushback is going to be a thing.
I think Hollywood created this. I think like interest in margin and profit on like the only things that get pushed forward are old stories that have commercial value that you can turn a profit off of because they have to have big box office numbers. That's like we get the same stories recycled. Now you have independent creators who are just doing whatever the hell they want and have the ability to do whatever the hell they want, and stuff's more compelling. Like I watched some stuff from the AI Film Festival in Dubai, like some of the 9-minute stuff. It was really good, and I was like, I'm into it. I'm watching it because I know it's not like a canned story that's already been produced a million times, that hasn't been run through the corporate cycle and just like washed down to the lowest common denominator. You can only use certain tools because of the legal stuff. Like you can't.
Right.
Like I just want to see what people create, like without the guardrails. So like, to me, distribution becomes like less of like, I don't know if it's going to be a thing as much as we see it now, like being talked about. Like I'm more likely to follow someone to watch their stuff on YouTube than I am to go watch it on Netflix, AI content, right? Because it's just like I want the full experience. I don't want the, we can't do that. Don't use that tool. Do you clear that with legal? Look, it's like, all right. It's like, so, I think that's something that we're going to see. Maybe that's just always been my prediction, is that like YouTube and like personal branding and a visual, like, individuals become the commodity versus distribution networks.
Also, I'd like to see these voices get better on these videos.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the lag of all the tech right now. Like when you look at like one of those longer films that you're talking about, you could get great stills that you then turn into great videos. Then you've got these characters, and then the voice comes, and the voice can ruin the whole thing for me. I'm like, oh no. It like sucks the life out of you a little bit. It's just like doesn't have the natural aspect. Either the volume, like most of the time, the volume's too high on their voice to match. Like there's no. It feels very one-dimensional, I guess, in terms of how that audio is coming out.
It's not spatially aware.
Aware. Thank you. Yeah, it's just like that wrecks it for me. So I mean, obviously everything's going to get better, but that to me is like that thing that singles out those types of things for me. It makes it less enjoyable. But if that gets fixed, different story.
There's a lot that needs to get fixed on the video side, dialogue, sound, editing. I think those things you'll see push forward in 2020, 2026. Like you'll see that probably a lot more in the 3D space. Will go a lot further into there, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. 3D, yeah.
3D, like we'll see a lot more like stuff built around that, I'm guessing. But also, like I was saying, I don't know if I said this to you. I don't know if I said this on the podcast or somewhere else, but I just feel like as we go forward in prompting too, 2026, it's going to be more about constraint than it is going to be about achieving, if that makes sense. So like when I'm writing prompts, instead of like do all this, it's like don't do this because the capabilities are only going to grow. So you're going to have to like limit what it can do. So it's not just we used to put so much into like do this, and then like the negative prompting side of things,
which then kind of gets into that personalized asset. That's like a personalization piece. Yeah. It's just like in an LLM, that's your custom instructions, and for Nano Banana Pro, you're literally saying do this, don't do this, right? Like,
yeah, it's better. I just hope that's like we need video to step up a little bit next year. Like I don't know if I'm asking for too much. I'm just like video just in general needs to take a next step, especially with whether the inputs change to where it's not just start frame, like whether it's you have to change and put different inputs into like, so if I need to put like a character sheet in to get like the full like 3D view of a character, so when they walk, if I want to start a scene whether it's from behind them and they turn around and they're the same, like all that kind of stuff is so monotonous right now. And I'm not saying make everything easy for me, just like maybe think about it differently when we're updating and building these tools, right? Because start frame, end frame feels like a limited technology up until a certain point. So Elements is good, but Elements doesn't generate at the same level as keyframes do, or text to image or image to video, or text to video or image to video. So we need more stuff. Give us more stuff, guys.
Also, Nano Banana Pro, as good as it is, there's a lot of room there to get better, especially when it comes to the editing, replacing piece of it.
Yeah.
I mean, what I've noticed by using that a lot is it really just kind of like distorts and blurs. It doesn't maintain its resolution when you do that. When you do like the erase or replace, and just remember when Photoshop was doing that too. It's just like, oh, it's not the same color, or just doesn't fit. So that feels like the whole next step of this too, is where you start to really get more precise and consistent and high res with the edits. I don't know. This is something like I'm experiencing, but
there's I was doing this the other day. I never had such a problem with Nano before. It was a flat background gradient. That was a product on a flat background gradient. Couldn't be any simpler. And like every time I'm trying to do it with Nano, it's putting so much noise on the background. It looks like it's interlaced. I'm like, why? It's like, this is like of all the things you can do,
like it was banding, like it was banding the colors, or
like it's a gradient. It's a very subtle gradient shift from like a dark gray to a black, but like
just couldn't handle it.
It was just like, if I could hold on, I'll show you the difference. This will just make you. I can't show the exact.
Sure.
I can't show the exact images because of NDAs and stuff, but let me see if I have it here real quick, because this one was absolutely making me lose my mind. Is it this? Hold on. Here we go. I got it here. All right, so this, for anyone who's just like, you guys are absolute nerds, right? Like, sorry, but this is what it should look like. Flat. This is how it keeps coming out.
Zoom in a little bit further too. Yeah.
Like the difference. Do you see the difference there? Like I can't show you the rest of it, but it's like, this is flat.
Oh yeah.
This is with the noise that comes. I'm like, why is it doing this? I wrote like maybe 15 versions of a system prompt to eliminate it, and it's not doing it. And I'm like, not naturally, I can take it into Photoshop and do this in about 2 seconds, but it's infuriating. Like these little, these little things sometimes where it's like, yes, I can 3D geometrically like shift an entire scene, but I can't get a flat background. To
I had one of those. I had one of those the other day. I can't remember what it was, but it was something very small, and I was like, "What is actually happening? What is actually happening?" Because it was like, there's no reason this should be the case.
No,
actually,
this one's so easy.
Logo related.
Okay.
Logo related. So, a brand updated their logo, and trying to retexture or create new scenes with this logo, even by providing it with the new logo. Don't change the logo. Lots of rules. Mega prompt around it even. Still, like most of the time, defaults to the old logo. And I'm like, I can't believe, I'm actually shocked that this is happening right now. Like, I can't believe it. I literally tried all these things, and like, you can get it every once in a while, but it's not consistent, and it sucks. And that's where I was like getting into this race tool too, because it's like, okay, well, I can actually, maybe selectively erase part of this, and it'll paint it in the right way too, right? Providing with the reference, and kind of worked, right? But it's not precise then. It doesn't maintain the exact logo, right? Like, so I don't know. I was just surprised to run into that because it was such a simple thing.
Yes.
And, it's like, okay, so this model must be trained on this old logo. And it's like, I'm not even giving it any indication of what logo I'm talking about other than giving you the new logo. Like, there's no way this should even be happening. I don't know. Sometimes. I was just like, I'm shocked. I was shocked by that.
Got to go around it in weird ways sometimes, which is, again, this is like, we're not there yet in anything. Like, nothing is there. It's a good reminder.
Yeah, there's still some of those things, man.
Still some stuff. And it's just, to wrap this one up, put a bow on it. Took a big ass jump this year. Like, big. You look at go back and look at some of your stuff that you created. Anyone who's been creating stuff here, go back and look at January stuff and just be like, whoa. Like what you can do now versus then. I mean, it's crazy. You're just like, okay, that's a year. Was one more year with the exponential growth.
Time's crazy right now.
I don't know. Holographic me somewhere.
Somewhere up there. I got to show you this real quick before we bounce. I put my dog in this.
Nice.
I was like, dude, this is
with
great.
The little treats on the.
Yeah. Add some kibble crumbs.
What was it Bruce Almighty where the dog used to go to the bathroom on the I think sitting on the toilet like the real way and like reading the newspaper? Was that?
Yeah, I think so.
Old reference there. That's what that's reminding me of.
Yeah, had to tweak it a little bit. Yeah, Nano. And I was like trying to do some of this like funky, not that one, like distorted buildings.
Yeah, never end, like the whatever the hell the name of that staircase is, the ones that never end, the paradox.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That looks like Harry Potter or something like that.
Yeah, I was messing around with these. Like I was just, it was kind of fun.
There's so much to do. I don't even know.
Thank you, Nano. I don't know. Thank you. Look at this. Look at this, by the way.
Damn.
So this is this reverse POV impossible point of view.
What? Just like straight up.
Because I was digging into. Yeah. That's so all I did was I provided with a Midjourney image, and I was like, so I was changing out camera angles, because I haven't really done much camera angle in Nano other than what I did in Weavy, but I was just like curious of maybe other camera angles I hadn't thought of, and I just I was using LLMs, and I came up with like some of these like real novel things I hadn't seen before, and I was like, oh, reverse POV impossible point of view. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, but I saw this and I was like, oh, that's wild. I mean, the eye is a little bit more circular than I'd like, but it's like, that's pretty dope. There were like a couple other concept, really interesting ones, like this mirror one.
Sick.
There was another really good one in here. I think it was like voyeur frame, I think is what it was.
Huh. Oh,
voyeur frame shot. Yeah.
I like that.
So shot through bodies, gaps, objects, pierced through a slit, right? So, I was just trying to explore some of these camera angles I hadn't like really thought of and try to just kind of see if like Nano would work with it. Same with like something like this. I was trying to fix the color on it, but you can kind of see it's not an overhead, right? It's not it's like this like over the top of the dome shot, like you would feel like would be maybe like an introspective kind of shot or something like that. I don't know. I was just like trying some of this shit out. Some of them work, some didn't. High angle, wide lens. Love that one.
Very cool.
But
There's it's like I've gone back to, looking at some of the old stuff that I used to produce to try and find like more fun tokens to play with now that I think other tools can handle it. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I was getting at. It was just like I was like, man, I wonder if there's anything here.
Yeah.
What'd you find?
I was doing some like interesting stuff with Weavy, but this was, I'll pull this one up. I did like a whole like just to see if I could build like a little, I want to call it a studio, but it was sort of like an educational like diagrams, like using an image. Like if I gave like this image from Pluribus, right, where it was like one of the shots where he's pulling the
look at that shot.
I know, right? Because I'm like, this is sick. So I was like, how many different ways can I sort of vary this? This one I thought was really cool. It was like basically asking for the vanishing point and sort of like the dimensional geography of the image. So took that, added it, then I extracted that and
wait. Go.
Image.
Let's go back, because people are gonna glance right over that. So go back one, because you prompted for this. So what? So what? Show us what you were prompting for, because this is really cool. X is a forensic visual architect and mapped coordinates identified. Dude, that is so cool.
Spatial physics, map the, trace the architectural convergence, camera height, label center of interest, visual style, blah, 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 a bunch of things, right? But this was, so I was like, okay, cool. Like it got like the lines of convergence and knows the vanishing.
Yeah.
Obviously it.
Dude, that's so dope. I love that.
But then extracting it here and then applying that as a reference to this. So it's like, and then you look at it, it's like, sick. It fits, right? Like that one was cool. This one was sort of the like the kinetic analyst, where it's just like showing sort of like the eye path from like where everything goes. I didn't like this one that much.
Okay,
I thought this
dude,
one was
what are you doing? Why
relatively cool?
You buried the lead here. This is sick. Dude, this
it's
is
all like
sick.
little educational pieces.
This is sick because I I haven't seen
Check this
I haven't
out.
seen anything like this before.
Look at the lighting.
Other than I guess that concept where, remember when Nano Pro dropped and that guy was like prompting how that guy had his lighting set up?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I've seen kind of like even parallel to this. But this is really dope.
This is cool. Like this is fun. Like this one I love because I like the lighting and like the angles of like where the light's going. It's showing sort of like the piece, the fall off zone, like where the directional lighting's coming from. I don't know if these are the good ones or these are the good ones. Where are they? I ran it like a bunch of different ways, but this one maybe. Well, this one's cool too. This one is the technical camera forensic expert, where I'm looking at, you're looking at sort of like the field of view, the, degrees here, sort of essentially the tilts, the plane of focus. Like I thought this was relatively fun. This also fun, same thing. This one pulling out the color palettes. Yeah, sort of like, and then I had some more, I think these are the more, like this one was more like experimental in terms of me telling it what to do, like where the things are placed, sort of like, again, like the leading lines and like where you're, sort of like the visual forensics of it, like the focal points. Then we have, cinematography and the lighting composition. Like I ran it a few different ways because I didn't actually know what to ask for most of the time. Like this one, again, was a different variation of the lighting, like where the light's coming from, how it's hitting the characters, right? Like where the fall off zone is, things like that. So, dude, like this is a whole like suite of different like diagrams.
Sick.
This one's more of like a depth map, right? It's a way to learn. Like I thought it was it's like if I was going to do something with it, you know.
I mean, I'm gonna need that workflow because I need that. I need some of that in my life. That's really cool, dude. That is really cool.
I haven't even shared
You weren't even gonna bring that up.
Totally forgot about it.
Holy shit!
I did it while I was sick, and was just like, how can I like explain this? You know, like how can I explain this to AI, basically?
Well, as you know, there is always a benefit to staying to the end of these.
That's correct, everyone. If you made it an hour and 40 minutes in, you're solid. We had to do one last wrap up for the year. You know, maybe we'll have to go back over that one again at some point. See if I can.
Yeah, I think that's like
it.
I don't know. Like you have to share that on social though. You have to share that because I've never seen that, and I think that's super cool. Anything else you want to get in, man? Before we wrap it up, I mean, last episode, season 2, because I guess next time we talk, it's gonna be 2026. Well, that'll be season 3. So, episode 60. Anything you didn't cover?
I'd say just like buckle up.
Buttercup.
You know, we're gonna have to ride some crazy waves next year. I think there's gonna be a lot more. I don't want to be negative on the last day of the year. I just think you're gonna see a lot more public interest in the topic and a lot more opinions around the dinner table from people that have never touched anything. So if you're in a position where you're going to have to like have, families over and they're going to be like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. You're going to have to probably defend a lot of that. So good thing is you've been listening to us. You know your stuff. So you're well armed because the feedback is coming and it's coming hard. So I think brace ourselves, but also we're going to get probably the craziest technology we've ever seen next year. So there you go.
Second all that. I don't really know what else to build on other than look, if anybody needs to hear this that's listening to this has made it this far, we're still very early. We're still early. We're not as early as we were. So this is a call just to the people that have been a little bit more passive in this, or maybe you're starting to think about how you can maybe profit from this, or carve out your own lane. Like, this is an opportunity, still a very, very open window. And, again, you don't have to focus on everything. Focus on the things that interest you most and get into that niche, because like there's really not anybody that are in the niche. This is like this broad thing. Most people are talking about all the tools, right? And we started this podcast, we were just talking about Midjourney, right? Now it's almost become essential to talk about more because they're all pieces of these workflows. But what I'm saying is become, sort of like that niche, maybe not tool specific, but industry specific or vertical specific or outcome specific or, something, because there's no depth at all when you really stretch things out. And so it's still very early. That's all I'll say.
Lots of options.
So maybe
out there. Big blue ocean. Yeah, that's right. But also, another thing to say is, if you haven't already, tell your mailman. Tell your mailman. Like and subscribe first, then tell your mailman. Tell who else is out there? Bus driver. Tell maybe your toll booth operator. Customer service rep for whoever you're calling to return stuff. After the holidays.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, just tell them we're here.
Maybe Sinbad your mailman.
You should do that. See if anyone would notice. Just like as like a publicity stunt. Send them back.
They should, dude. Hey, man, if you're working in marketing, there's your spot right there. Sinbad is. No one's talking about Sinbad right now. You could probably get him on the cheap. Put him in that mailman uniform around Christmas. Oof.
Bring it around, delivering Turbo Mans to everyone.
That would hit. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. Glad we get it in. Happy New Year to everybody out there, and we'll see you guys in 2026, season 3. Let's go.
See ya.